Yeah,
Sure.
right.
We'd rather.
Yes.
Walked right in that one, didn't it?
Absolutely.
All right, we're gonna open up here, so if you could quiet down, please. Whenever you're ready.
We're good.
We're good? All right, Zach, thank you. Welcome everybody to the February 25th, 2025 planning board meeting. What we have on the agenda tonight is the minutes of the 11th, which we will not be able to sign because we won't have a quorum of people that attended that meeting. We have no old business. The new business is minor subdivision application for the Rhonda and Gregory Mayer or Meyer? Mayor.
Yep.
Bakerstown Road, map 15, lot 8A, and an informational from Joe Semino, and we have somebody from the public that wanted to talk to us as well at the end. So we'll start under the new business, the minor subdivision application. If, I'm assuming the person from Teradyne is going to be presenting, so.
Yes. How you doing tonight? On behalf of Greg and Rhonda Mayer, my name is Nick Chobe. I am a surveyor for Teradyne Consultants. They own property on Bakerstown Road, kind of right across the street from the bowling ball fields. They're looking to do it's just a minor 3-lot subdivision. It's basically all flat site, very flat site. There's a wetland to the southwest. The property doesn't contain any significant wildlife habitats or any natural resource and features of that nature. It's located about 1,000 feet southerly of the intersection of Bakerstown Road and Route 26. The lots are going to be served by a private road, which we've designed to town standards. It's going to be a gravel road. It's going to be 20 feet wide with a 3-foot shoulder. Each lot's going to have their own private well and septic system. They did require, we needed to get the DOT entrance permit, and we did get a permit by rule, which we kind of talked about last time we were here. So that was accepted. I believe all the letters and everything was signed off by the town and all the department heads. We supplied a phosphorus treatment plan and depicted all the dimensions and the buffer areas on the subdivision plan. And we intend for the stormwater to run off to basically a natural drainage path. And we're going to use a level spreader and forested buffers to control peak rates and treat the phosphorus. We supplied a grading plan with a profile of the proposed road. We did request a waiver for the nitrate study, but however, we did on the second engineering review, I believe it was, he did mention something to the effect of getting extended well casings that might help forgo the nitrate study. And if that's the case, the client is willing to do that, but we kind of need to know, I guess, how long the extensions need to be. I'm not quite familiar with that. And the other thing that was mentioned was putting a sign in the turnaround area stating that there's no parking of watercraft or trailers or anything of that nature. So I'd be happy to take any questions.
So just looking at your colored map here.
Yep.
So those aren't detention ponds, and there's just where everything's funneling to and just going to be sheet flowing.
Yeah, basically. So we have a culvert here and here, and then this culvert here will drain it into the level spreader. We'll give the big sheet flow come out of that. We have our buffer areas. The green line is basically wrapped around the silt fence area, which is basically encompasses all of the buffer areas and stuff like that for our erosion control.
So I'm looking at above the hammerhead.
Yep.
Up here you got 318, then you're going into a culvert to a 318 down below. Am I missing something there?
Look at this one. Grading plan here. Take a grading plan here. So I believe the low, you're talking right here?
Yeah, I'm talking from there where then it goes across.
So it's 319, but the elevation, so of course it's gonna be just a little lower there, but it's gonna be just a small slope from here to here. So the 319 is there, but the actual inverts will be, of course, sloping the correct way.
So once again, you're saying that's gonna work from that one to the next one down below?
Correct.
Goes to the lip spreader?
Yep, right down in here, and then into this culvert right here, and then down this swale, drainage swale right here, and then under the road, and that will sheet right, go into the level spreader, and sheet flow into the wetland.
So each individual deed's gonna have, the buffer mentioned in that, no
Correct.
cutting, no this, no that, everything?
Correct, we're gonna have the restricted, limited disturbance forested buffers and meadow buffers for the, I believe the meadow buffer would only be for lot 3, because this is the only meadow buffer, the rest are gonna be forested buffers.
So when we talk about forested buffers, it's kind of funny because the land's been clear cut.
Right,
So when you say it's gonna be a forested buffer,
it's going to
are you
be,
gonna, it's gonna be written that things are just gonna grow again?
correct,
Okay.
yes.
So then lot 3's got the major wetland associated with it.
Correct. Yes, it does.
And then the maintenance agreement for the road,
Mm-hmm. I think.
that,
in
it
there.
is in here.
Okay.
So is the owner, even, it mentions that the allocation is gonna be broken out once permits are given or
Okay.
drawn.
Okay,
Is that true, Scott? That's the way I read it. It said, you know, you're gonna be responsible, as soon as you pull a permit, you're gonna be whatever percentage ownership of the road.
okay.
So is that gonna mean that the developer is gonna be responsible for the lots not sold at that point to be, 'cause it didn't read that way to me.
The
Are
goal-
you gonna develop, you're gonna develop this
I'm gonna
yourself?
develop it, yeah. And I'm gonna take care of the road until the 3 lots. are
Until the 3
completed.
lots, okay.
So that's something that we could revise if need be, if we need to revise that maintenance agreement.
No problem.
And then the road agreement says it's not gonna be taken over by the town. Assuming that that apron is within the, that's the paved apron then?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct,
And that meets with DOT standard?
correct, yeah.
Coming into Route 11. This is just a question to Scott. I don't know if you know the answer or not, but obviously you have to provide test pits for the septics. And I know that these aren't exact locations, but just to prove that you can actually site a septic, but when you have a septic sited, and maybe this is an old one, in one of mine, it shows the septic's underneath the proposed building site for number 2. Not that one there, but some of mine show that, so.
Yeah, the scientists did say that all the soils are the same, I mean, so.
Well, I mean, they're pretty much the same.
Right, in that area, and he said they could honestly be moved anywhere in that area too.
So, there is an updated plan that you submitted that hasn't got submitted into the paperwork. Was that the final?
Hopefully, that's the final, yeah.
Do you have a copy of that with you today?
That would be this one right here, and I have another one out, rolled up in case we ended up approving or anything like that. But this would be the most updated one, so I think the one I sent the other day, did I send a new one along with that addendum?
You did.
That should be the newest version.
This came too late to get in the packets.
Yeah, it's,
So we would probably want to have those with the final.
right, when we sign the files.
Yep.
I don't really have any other questions. I mean, we've got a third-party reviewer here that can answer questions or go through his responses to some of this. Does anybody here on the board have any questions on this?
Nope.
I guess the only... What's the timeline? Is there any development on map 15 lot 8C, Scott?
No, that's the property next to Mud Pond, on the other side of Mud Pond, isn't it?
This is the one closer back to, it's this one here's the triangular piece.
Oh, that's part of
Is that part of
the crane company.
the crane company? All right, so there's no buildings there, so there's no septic, anything associated with that?
No.
Okay. I'm just wondering, because all the wells are basically closer to that,
Right.
that side of that, and obviously, the land around it, that U-shape is, I'm assuming this lot was split from that U-shaped lot? that-
Yes.
Or the trapezoid that's originally was? Okay. Yeah, so we don't have to worry about that then. Jim, do you have any questions on this? We can reach out to Jim on this stuff. Jim, if you want to come up real quick, and it seems like you had some initial questions that they had come back and answered for you. If you could just give us a brief overview of some of that.
Good, how are you?
Good. I will try to answer anything survey related, and I'm not an engineer, so I may not have.
The only
all
question I do have is, you mentioned it earlier, is with the culvert that crosses the entrance. That's a pretty shallow pipe there, and it's a pretty shallow feed to that level lip spreader. So my concern is we get a winter like this year, things are gonna ice up and it could back up into the street with a shallow cover, because it's probably gonna freeze on the shallow cover. So that elevation, I don't know if they can do anything to raise the road there, or whether they can drop the whole system, because if they drop the whole system, now they got a grade within 25 feet, now they're into a different DEP permit, so. But I do have some concerns with the cover on that pipe crossing that entrance. Because it's gonna be, it's only gonna have probably a foot at max. And there's not
Does
much-
it make any sense at all? I mean, I don't know how this works, you're the civil engineer slash whatever. I mean, with insulating stuff like that, does that matter?
You
Because
can't-
you're gonna be losing your,
Yeah, you're gonna lose
compaction and
your
all that.
cover, but you could put some insulation down, it might help. You get a winter like this season, and frost actually goes the other way, it can come up through and underneath, so if you gotta put insulation down, you gotta put it down the side walls as well, so that frost can't come penetrating back up. But the problem is with an open pipe like that, frost can generate from the pipe itself, so. Once the ground's frozen, water freezes, bad things happen, so ideally, you could put some insulation down, but I think with the open end culvert, it's not a closed system, the cold's just gonna creep in from the ends. So ideally, you'd like to get a little more cover on that, so I don't know if there's anything they can do to raise that elevation of the road a little higher coming through there. Just to get some cover, they could bring it up there, and then they could dip it back down. It is level, so it can take a little extra fill through there. I do, that's a concern I have, because it's at the entrance and it's also picking up some of the water coming off 11 as well, and we don't want to have a glacier through that intersection. It is good sand through there, it drains rapidly, but once the frost gets in it, nothing gets through. So it's really a winter concern. Other than that, I think they've addressed everything. I did see, I had a question, they did show the transformer with CMP.
It's not on this because I had a little.
Yeah,
too
no,
late
I
to-
got a copy
yeah.
of it, but it looked like the transformer was gonna be going.
And yes, we have been discussing that, because I did notice that today, that the transformer would be here, so so CMP wanted the plan approved prior to giving us a sketch, but then you kinda wanted to know where the power was before, so it was kind of a two-way street there, one-way street there, so, we are going to address that, and we're hoping that we can, the second pole, we're hoping we can maybe put on this side and run the, to the transformer over in here, or, I mean, sorry, put the second pole up in here, and then the transformer potentially over in that area there. We're gonna address that.
The other thing is on the buffer plan, I noted that the buffer comes out into the right of way.
We did revise that.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, you can see it right here if you wanna, we did revise that. We revised, and I think the other one, I think this other one actually had a small piece as well. This one down here, that one actually creeped up into the buffer as
Okay.
well, so we've addressed that as well.
It's not a DP review, so, I mean, typically the minimum buffer is 50 feet. It'll be a little shallow, but that's your jurisdiction on this one, but again, I don't think it's gonna be a huge issue, because it is very rapid draining sands out here. Everything's gonna pretty much infiltrate into the ground. And then they did give us some samples of the buffer language they were gonna use. And to your point, this will have to, since it's been cut, that'll have to remain in natural state and allow it to come back in tree growth.
Right, well, we have one I can show you on the map that had buffers that, when new people moved in, that were forested, they weren't like this
Yeah.
cut before, that were forested,
Yeah.
that they wanted not to have them, and they cut them, so that's,
Yeah.
once again, it becomes an enforcement issue.
Yeah,
It's
because
nothing, I
enforcement
mean, it's not that
issue,
we can't
the-
hold these people.
Right.
The other thing we've done in some other communities is we've asked them to pin the buffers with actual buffer pins so that neighbors do know, because a lot of times neighbors have no idea when they, or buyers have no idea where these are, where these limits are, so, you know, we've asked them to put thinner pins in, we've had to do it in other communities ourselves, where you just put, says forested buffer on it, so people know, no cut, forested buffer right on the pin. Helps, but again, if people wanna do it, probably low order on code enforcement's, you know, activation list.
Hey, you're not supposed to say that on TV, for God's sakes.
Be low on my end, probably too.
All right, so the department heads reach back out, it seems like they are fine with things of that nature, so, Scott, do you have anything that you've seen that
I don't,
seemed like, so the waivers were for the nitrate?
Yeah, I was just glad you brought that one up, because I do think these are relatively close proximity with well, just because of the lot configuration. You may want to put a condition on there that these just be surveyed, verified before they go in, because they're so tight amongst each other.
Basically just let's go out, lay them out.
Go about, lay
Yep,
them out,
yep,
just because
yep.
they're extremely tight between the wells and the septic systems, especially on that back one.
Yep,
I think.
yep.
And Scott may be able to do that as part of the, I mean, probably checks that anyway, but it may not be a bad idea to put a note on the plan.
Yep.
So,
Well,
'cause what happens if one person moves something where it doesn't
well,
belong?
that's the whole thing, is I'd rather see something, I'm not saying a pin, but something that, from Teradyne, that they can go out quickly and do that, because, come over to my house and I'll show you how lazy well drillers are. Separations of
Yeah.
septic tanks to
Yeah,
wells.
yeah,
And granted, the house is super.
It's easier to ask for forgiveness and permission, right?
That's,
Well, you know, these would
Well,
well
that
be,
was my wife.
well before all this
Yeah.
stuff came into existence, so forth, but yeah, it'd be better to make sure that they're, it's just like anything else, I've seen it enough in my line of work where developers go in and somebody will stuff a well too close to the property line, which screws the neighbor on where they can put their septic, and it's, turns into a big fight, so if this is a nice little thing, nothing else is around it, just make sure everything's gonna be
Yes.
placed in the right
Yeah,
spot,
correct.
and so forth.
And then from the design, this is the downtown village, so from that perspective, the only thing that I could find that's even applicable is the pedestrian connectivity. There are no sidewalks on that side, I don't know if there's any future plans for anything on that side, but, you know, we are in an area where there is a lot of pedestrian, could be pedestrian activity with things going on the intersection there, so.
There's no sidewalk on the school side on 11 anyhow, is there?
No.
It just goes down to the
Yeah.
5 corner.
Yeah. But I don't know if there's any plans for it to, you know, come back around to the school at some point, there's other proposals for that intersection. That's just my discussion, bring it to your attention. I have
We
no
got a
preference.
commercial thing, we got all commercial around it, so I think,
Yeah, and the other thing, if you put sidewalks in there, you know, it changes all the drainage down 11 too, so that gets expensive. So I don't know if there's any future plans to run it back down 11, I don't know where you'd go to, other than the school, and that would be on the other side.
right. I mean, worst thing is put in a crosswalk
Mhm.
or something, signage,
Mhm.
whatever, so.
But there's only 3 residents,
This,
so.
that's what I'm saying, so. So then we'd probably, well, as a minor, do we have to waive that? I mean, it's not required, is it, in a minor, so. Okay.
Just when you
Alright.
acknowledge design, just.
Yeah, okay. So what was the concern that you had about the depth on the well casing versus the nitrate stuff? Does that-
Oh, if they're, again, if we're not looking to do nitrates, the other thing you can do is put a deeper well casing in, because what happens on these well draining sands is the pollutant load goes vertical more than it goes horizontal.
Mhm.
So if you put a deeper casing in, you can kind of protect the groundwater from chasing down the casing,
What
basically.
about clay beds for septics? Is that it? No?
Usually you want your septic to be,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's the one thing you do.
Well, that was just,
Go.
Rick had mentioned that.
Yeah,
just
but
to-
I think
yeah.
just to put extra bentonite and casing is one way to
Okay,
solve that
okay.
problem with the wells. You're 100 feet, you probably won't have a problem, but if the well driller just puts in an extra, probably 20 feet more casing and
Okay.
bentonite's that, it'll seal that well.
So you're saying 20 feet-ish,
Yeah.
probably about 20 more feet?
20 more feet, and then you seal it with bentonite, and it should discourage the going down the casing. So what happens is that plume goes this way, then it wants to drop,
Okay.
so you just don't want it to get into your drinking water.
Yep,
Pretty simple.
yep.
All right, I guess I'll go through the checklist then.
What were the conditions? Do we have any?
On the waivers,
Yeah,
additional casing.
just additional casing.
in
We're
the
gonna
site.
do anything with the culverts, or?
I think, yeah, it's gonna be, I think we're gonna have to discuss that.
So you were saying potentially we could, if they need to, might be able to raise the road a little in that area.
I think you have the capability of bringing that road up. I mean, it'll create a little bit of grading issues, but, you know, I think you can. Because you're at 2, I don't know what your actual grade is here.
We got 321 right here.
321
Yeah,
there, so you could bring
receive
it
it on the
up.
final plan, even though we haven't received the final plan, because there's a couple things that have changed. Is that close enough to being, because you've received it, right?
We have received.
Okay, so we'll see that when we sign off on it.
Right,
Should I say 20 additional feet or 120 feet total?
20.
20,
20 feet.
not 120, 20.
On them drill wells, I think I'd be testing the water down there. Because all the drill wells on the high school, they're all bad. The water's all bad, you can't drink that water. They can only use it to, sprinkle the fields, that's all.
Right, sulfur.
So I don't know what's in it, but there is bad water here in towns, in some places. So before I'd sink a lot of money into drilling a well, I'd be doing some serious tests. Nobody knows the history of this town, even I don't. Nobody knows
Yeah.
what people buried
Oh,
here
yeah,
years ago.
absolutely, absolutely.
You don't
Yeah,
know.
nope, unless you dig it
You
all
don't
up,
know.
but that's.
I mean, you're trusting, we got some good groundwater here.
Yeah,
And we're lucky.
yeah, yeah.
It is on the aquifer.
So intended deed restrictions, and that's actually applicable because of the buffer stuff, so yes, that's gonna be received then. Type of sewage projects, tip analysis. So obviously that's not in the floodplain then because of mud pond, that
Yep.
doesn't get big enough then.
Correct. And I know when I was out there, that wetland wasn't very wet when I was out there. I don't know how it looks right now, but it was it October or something I was out there? It was
Dry fall.
Yes, it was.
What's that?
Very dry.
Is that still dry?
Yeah.
Dry falls, all the wetlands, kind of shriveled up.
Yeah.
they'll come back this spring.
Another quick, with that sign, do we have to depict that on the plan? With signage, or is that
As long as
just?
they have a condition, it just has to be there.
It's gotta be there.
Okay,
Perhaps people park their private stuff. in there.
Right,
Block
right,
it so
yeah.
you can't get emergency vehicles.
So what state permits were required for this, or was it?
I think just highway entrance. I
Mhm.
don't think there's
that and I
anything.
get the permit by rule.
Yeah,
Permit by
permit by
rule,
rule
so
for the
that's
service
fine.
within
Okay.
75 feet.
I just wanted to make sure I checked the right box on there.
Which we're still, I think their closest building is like 50.
Yeah, it's soil disturbance. You get your level lip spreader, which is,
All right. I guess I'll take a motion for checklist, please.
Make a motion to approve the checklist for minor subdivision, Rhonda and Gregory Meyer, 0 Bakerstown Road, map 15, lot 8A.
Second.
All those in favor? All right, I guess before we do the final on that, you wanna talk about culvert then? You wanna make that a condition?
yeah, let's make it a condition. We'll work with them. I'd like to see, 18 inches of cover over that culvert, just give it a little bit of buffer.
So it doesn't-
It's gravel, it's gonna wear off at times.
Yeah. Okay.
It just, that creates them to bring it up like 6 inches, which I think they can put a little hump in there and blend it back in.
Yep.
And there's quite a berm in the beginning anyway, so
Yeah.
just to continue that a little further in would be no issue at all.
Anybody wanna do a site walk?
No.
Public hearing?
No.
Well, there you go.
Was there a condition on the sign? Is that what you just said?
Well, there,
Yeah.
yes, it has to be there, so.
Is it nothing?
Sarah, when did we first see this? So it doesn't matter if I can just put today's date on this?
Yeah,
'cause
just put today's date, because the previously was a sketch plan.
That was, yes. All right. Well, it says pre-application, which is, it says, we'll just call it the same.
You know what I mean.
Yeah. I know. Question is, does anybody else?
But do they need to?
Site inspection. All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the application for Rhonda and Gregory Mayer, 0 Bakerstown Road, map 15, lot 8A, with conditions that they add 20 additional feet to the well casing and 18 inches of cover for the culvert on the front part of the plan. No site walk, no public hearing,
And pin the buffer.
and pin buffers.
Buffers in the deeds and you want them in.
I don't know, we need,
I mean, we could always set stakes as well, just to, but then, of course, those will,
yeah.
they'll be gone.
Ready for a second?
Well, no, I'm just
yet.
trying to think of,
I mean, I've always seen the buffers in the deeds, and I don't know that we wanna go any further than that.
no, I don't think we do, honestly, because the amount of pins you'd actually have to stuff
Yeah.
in there just to kind
I
of.
was gonna say that
balls
would
in.
take,
No pin buffer.
Nope.
I would just say initially, just put wood stakes in there, just so initially when the house is built, they know where they are.
yep, that's a good idea.
Or we could ask the code officer to explain that to them when they come in to get a building permit. We know how well that works, right?
It's usually after.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was in my deed.
A lot of people don't know what's in their deed, it's interesting.
Sign at the turnaround, and you put that as a condition, and just put it on the plan.
Put it on the plan.
Let's put it on the plan?
Yeah. We'd have to adjust that site plan anyways.
Yeah, we got just the road grade a little
So
bit.
we might as well just put it on there and then,
Would there be a specific area where we'd need to put the sign?
At the end of that, where the actual physical hammerhead is.
Right in here?
Yep. Probably one on both sides of
Yep.
that driveway. So right at the end, so they know where the limits are.
Okay. So, okay, yeah, that works. Perfect.
So you're saying on both sides, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Now, does that do we need to add a detail or anything for a sign? There, okay.
Just note the sign and what it says.
Okay, right.
Yeah, no parking in the roadway.
Yeah.
All right, on that, so I'll have a second, please.
Second.
All right. Discussion, all those in favor? So they say bring your checkbook, write some checks, we'll sign the Mylars next meeting.
Yep, okay, so in one more meeting, we'll come back and,
Yeah, I mean, it's the minutiae's done, it's.
Okay.
Either you could come or just drop them to these
Just
guys.
drop them off at our office.
okay, so just put the conditions on the plan.
Yep.
Put the signs on the plan.
Yep.
We're gonna have to do the
CMP.
grading,
Yeah,
for the road.
And CMP, if you have those on the new ones, whatever, make sure that they're gonna be on the new ones.
Okay, so, yeah, we'll have
Yeah, you
to,
can just
we'll have to get
transfer it
ahold of
on that.
CMP again.
Yeah, on that grading plan, you can just put that CMP line and wherever they put the transformer, wherever you guys work it out.
Okay, okay, let's see.
They'll change it anyway.
Of course they will.
So I need to add the conditions approval, the 20-foot feet of extended casing
Yeah,
in the
you
conditions.
just need a name for the road you work this.
Well,
We have that.
We've got
Oh, you
it,
got that in?
yeah, they submitted it. So I think that's everything.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you have a good evening.
You too, thank you very much.
Thank
You guys spoke about the sidewalks,
Yeah.
possible.
Well, we don't need them because. it's-
Well, the thing is, that section of town, the TIF district never went down 11. We never put it in there, it was never put in at all.
No, we don't need
It ended at 5 cars and that's it, just village.
No, we're fine on that. So, Scott, have you researched the,
Oh, is that on that?
This one is yours.
it doesn't matter, you can take it with you. Unless you wanna keep the star cars with you.
Hang it up. Frame it, you want to frame
Oh,
it?
do you need that one?
Yeah.
Oh, these are the two. yes. All right, well, we're still on this, we might as well just deal with the road name. Scott, both of these don't have any
No.
issues with either one. Their first choice was Brighton's Way, second choice was Brighton's Lane, so anybody have any problems with Brighton's Way? No. Someone make a motion, we accept the name?
Make a motion to accept Brighton's Way for tax map 15 lot 8A.
And second, Joe?
Second.
All those in favor? And now you go buy your sign.
Put the name on there.
Oh, yeah, we have it right here.
Oh.
Yep, I do have it.
Sign will be supplied by the town.
First one.
First one.
After that, you're on your own.
Really, even though private?
Brighton's our grandson, so unless he steals it.
There's a cost of what, 125 now?
Yeah, it'll be 125, but the town will put it in and,
No, actually, once the town puts it in, then we actually take care of it.
oh,
as
okay.
well.
So it's gonna be a big lit up sign, right?
Yeah.
All right, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Have a great day. The next order of business is Joe Semino, Main Street, map 6, lot 47, sublots 1, 3, and 4. Joe's in the crowd. Pick up your last packet.
I put, yours is different, yours has it in there because they weren't
Oh,
the last one.
it's in his.
Yeah, so Joe's informational stuff is in there. They had to keep their packets from last time.
Yes, I will.
That seemed unfair since you weren't here.
What's his name? Mark Lazarus.
I must have an old one. You gave us larger maps for this last time, didn't you?
There is a pile of larger maps, it's on the other side,
Yeah, right there.
right there.
Yeah, because the small ones don't show. You can open that one if you want to. All right, Joe, if you want to come up, or I don't know whether, Mike's pick them up that far back, or?
was probably best to come up to the table if you don't mind. Come on up, Joe, you're next.
You ready?
You're next. Come on down.
So, my name is Joseph Semino. I just wanted to kind of give you an update on where we stand down at the Aroma Joe's project. I think it just took so long. Aroma Joe's decided, to bail out, and they forfeited their deposit, and they just decided it was just not worth it. Most of the disagreement was with the entrance and with the DOT giving access to an adjacent lot to provide access to that particular building. I applied last year for a DOT entrance permit to Lot 4, and after 4 months, the DOT denied me the entrance, claiming I didn't have the right site distance. But that really wasn't the issue. The issue was there are only two permits, two DOT permits that are available that whole length of my property. And they ruled that the entrance to Aroma Joe's was not a legitimate entrance because it didn't fit into the two permit system that they had set up for that whole area down there. I didn't know that, and it was just kind of very unfortunate. So I appealed that, took it to the DOT on the basis of having two entrances that were already in place at my property for years, and both of them were restaurants, and both of them had entrances on Route 26. They didn't buy that argument, claiming they don't recognize grandfathering. So even though there was two restaurants there at one point, they didn't agree with that. At that point, I had to hire an attorney. We were getting ready to file action against the DOT for the taking, and I had gone to see Sarah, and she dug up my permit for what I thought was the Aroma Joe's entrance. But as it turned out, the permit was for the pump station down the street, and I donated that property to allow the town to put in the sewer system and the water system. I never applied for a permit for the pump station, but the DOT claims that they had a permit, it was for the pump station, and they were not gonna change it, no matter what. So at that point, we were headed to litigation. The DOT came up with a compromise. I wasn't all that thrilled with it, but their compromise was, look, Joe, your Top Gun entrance has been fraught with hazard, there's been major accidents. Would you consider moving your Top Gun entrance and giving up the permit, and we'll utilize that permit, 200 feet down, and you could use that same permit to enter the Aroma Joe's property and Top Gun. Not wanting to spend, a huge amount of money going to court, I agreed. Ultimately, their engineers came out and issued me a permit for the new entrance. However, the permit came with a caveat, and the caveat was that Aroma Joe's had, a fairly high amount of traffic, about 100 cars an hour, so that I had to construct a different type of driveway than I really had planned. Instead of 26 feet, I constructed a 60-foot driveway to accommodate any future use of the back lot or Aroma Joe's. So I built that. That new driveway. But the argument really today, and it was solved today actually, The argument today is that the Top Gun entrance has to be permanently closed. And I try to explain to them that all my pipes, all my drainage, all my water, sewer are underneath that driveway, and I'm not paying $15,000 or $20,000 to move the driveway. So today, the DOT at 10 o'clock this morning called me and said, you know, we got a compromise for you. And I said, here we go. Would you consider putting in a curb? And instead of digging up that whole area at Top Gun, just put in an asphalt curb, and we'll be satisfied with that. So this morning I agreed to do that. They're gonna issue a new permit to the Aroma Joe's property to reflect the change. Aroma Joe's is not going in there. It's going to be a restaurant supply business, which is located in the Poland Plaza up the street. They have signed a purchase and sales agreement to move their operation in that little building, and they're gonna move into that building. Which means they would need a right-of-way from me, which I already granted, and they would need an amended permit from the DOT. The DOT said today they would immediately issue the amended permit to allow that building to access the new driveway. I know this sounds a little complicated, and I'm sure it's a lot more complicated than what I'm thinking, but I just need to bring you all up to speed on the difficulty, you know, losing one tenant and then barely holding on to another tenant, and have to deal with the DOT. I mean, I know they have their rules, but where we stand now, it looks like the compromise is acceptable to me, and I'm just gonna wait for the new amended permit from the DOT to be given to me, which should be very shortly. And then I'll need to come back to the planning board for a change of the entrance on the site for you folks to approve. This has been a long process, and it's just very unfortunate that I had to go through this, but that's where we stand. And I thought you should know some of the little idiosyncrasies on this site that have occurred. The fact that they just took my permits away from my driveways didn't seem like that should have happened. So I don't know if you have any questions for me. I will bring you, a site plan with the driveway entrance and the new location.
I guess my only question is not dealing with the bureaucracy, because I can understand how difficult that would be, but my concern would be the traffic flow with effectively 3 lots going in there. Obviously, getting into Top Gun wouldn't be an issue because you're gonna be taking a right and no one else. It's just somebody might hit you from behind coming off 26. That's easy, but if you're taking a left into this restaurant supply business, you could have people coming out of Top Gun plus coming out of Lot 4. I just don't know how you would address signage, or would it be stop signs at every point coming to, I guess you couldn't have a stop coming off 26 because that would bottleneck everybody trying to get into the facility, but you'd have to have signage coming back out of the new building and Top Gun, because everyone's going to be funneling the same way and potentially at the same time to try to get back out to 26. That's the only issue I'd kind of see with that.
Well, Jim, the volume of traffic when this was originally proposed was at the volume that Aroma Joe's was gonna have, and I always thought that volume was really large, 100 cars an hour. But the restaurant supply house, now, I don't need that 60-foot driveway anymore. I mean, because, we're talking, a couple of trucks a week to go in there and, and store their equipment. It's not a business that's going to be for sale, for someone to come in there and be a retail business. It's more to store the equipment and have a place, for their business. As far as Top Gun is concerned, the amount of accidents we've had out there, because once you come off northbound and you go to make a right-hand turn, you got 2 lanes merging into one at 55 miles an hour. We've had 3 major accidents, one recently, and actually the one recently has caused the DOT to make the decision they just did, because the engineer for the DOT lives in our neighborhood, and he was stuck in the accident for 2 hours when they blocked the road. So he made up his mind really quick that we had to fix this thing and move the Top Gun entrance away from where it is now, and move it down away. This could have been solved when the new housing project comes in, because if they're gonna reduce the speed limit, then the sight distance was gonna improve dramatically. But, that project is still not, you haven't approved it yet, because they haven't come to you, I don't think. And so the issue of,
That's been
been
approved.
approved.
It's been
Is that-
approved. It's, that, Auburn Housing is approved. They haven't started, but they have approval.
so you gave them an entrance permit using an entrance that they really don't have, that I granted it. That's the entrance you must have given them? Because
DOT.
I never applied for a permit for that entrance. So I don't know who put their name on that permit, but I lost my permit because somebody said, well, the new entrance, the permit is going to be granted to the housing people. I don't know how they got that permit. But I don't really care. The issue at Top Gun is, it's definitely gonna improve the fact that you're not gonna make a turn, where you have 55 mile an hour, and that's a low speed, by the way, to try and get out of the Top Gun driveway. Moving the driveway down, 200 feet was a good compromise, short of, litigating the damn thing. So I don't think that your fear there, it's gonna improve my business as well, not have to make a sharp turn to get into Top Gun now. And of course, with the 60-foot wide driveway, which I didn't need, that's gonna improve the entrance to the Aroma Joe's site as well.
I mean, the only thing I'm gonna say is, not knowing, we hypothetically know, it sounds like you have a lease agreement set up for that, is what's going on Lot 4. And once again, I don't care what's going there, I'm just concerned of everybody trying to funnel back to 26, and what there would have to be for signage internally here.
I was just gonna recommend, and I don't know how that layout works, but is there an opportunity to move that driveway that goes into that restaurant further back? Yeah, back there. So that when you come in, you can make your first right into Top Gun, then if somebody has to make a left, they're not detouring, they're not holding up somebody trying to go into Top Gun, they can come in the backside. Then you can leave it so they come out the exit closest to 26, but they could just have a loop around the building, basically.
I mean, I think that's a good suggestion, is not having them both come
Directly across.
directly across from each other.
They're staggered, but I know the building.
Right, it's not gonna, it doesn't add any more driveway, because you gotta build that going back up into Lot 4 anyhow, and if you come in on the high side of the building instead of the low side of the building, then you're not gonna have competing traffic.
So close to 26. Because you don't have much stacking capacity there.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's normally not gonna be a problem if 3 people come in, one person makes the left, it's maybe out in the wind.
Yeah, I was just more concerned of it
Right,
being
but if they're
directly
driving
across.
across from each other, that close to the intersection, there's no stackability. If you move that back so that they go into that restaurant components or whatever it is, further back to the end of that hammerhead to make a left, then they've got another 100 feet of stacking, which is plenty of distance.
I see what you're saying.
And if they wanna keep that one coming back out to 26 and just be a one-way out.
Which may work better for the restaurant equipment, because they're gonna use that backside as their warehouse entrance.
Okay. So I guess getting back into this though, Joe keeps talking about this being a 60-foot in and it's shown as 26 feet wide, right? It's the roadway coming in?
It's a 60-foot right away.
Right away.
60-foot right away, right?
Right, it's not a 60-foot road.
Right, well, that's what I'm trying to get my head around. It's not the road, it's the right of way.
Right.
So is it 26 plus 3 and 3 for the shoulders?
Entrance, it says entrance on the DOT permit says 26 feet in width plus radii.
Okay. So that's it. then. So they're not requiring,
No.
gotcha.
Well, if lot 4, Jim,
Yeah,
if lot 4 gets a certain type of use, the DOT is already, I think they already wrote that in my permit, that I need to come back to the DOT depending on the amount of usage.
kind of the volume.
Yeah, lot 4 is gonna get.
trips.
And at 60 feet, I can put a divider in the road, you know, I mean, in the driveway right away, so I don't wanna change the 60 feet. I already built it anyway, so I'm not gonna change that. It'll be too costly to, you know, to change that. And I built that road according to the DOT standards. They sent me the standards and that's the way I built the entrance. They're satisfied with it, except for the fact the batch plant closed and I couldn't pave it, you know, as required.
Is it gonna come down to where they drive so fast there? Is the state gonna come back and say, coming out of that building, you're gonna be able to take a right-hand turn only? You can't, if you take, I mean, you're almost going across 3-4 lanes right there in heavy traffic. Is the state gonna say, you know, you can't make they done that up here to Five Corners?
Well, I'm gonna guess that the site distance was actually very short with the new project going in. I'm gonna guess they're gonna reduce the speed limit, which I've been asking them to do
I hope
for
they're
the
not.
last
Okay,
5
they-
years, and they
They
refuse
they
to.
drive 70 miles an hour down through there.
Absolutely. And if they bring that down to 40, then the site distance goes away. You know, their issue was I was 150 feet short on the site distance. I said, well, just move the sign and put it 40 miles an hour and this whole thing goes away. But they didn't build a project yet, so the thing is just sitting there at 55 miles an hour. So I think that's gonna change.
So what's gonna happen to that other lot there where it goes into Auburn-Hausen? What's up with that?
Well,
Well, we've
you know,
already
I
approved it.
can't
Jim.
speak for
Well,
Auburn
he's saying there's wet area up in there now.
Well,
Look,
Jim, we've
that's
already
my-
gone through, this is something we're not gonna talk about
Right.
tonight because it's
I
an
know.
approved project. And we've had engineers sign off on everything, we've had, you know, everything's been signed off on that, so.
Well, I feel bad for Joe, because he's been,
Well, I mean, I
he's
feel
been
bad.
dealing with the state. And the state, it's the state,
Jim,
they're the ones that call
Jim,
the
anybody
shots.
that deals with the state wants to drop their head and run their head into a tree. It's just how the state works. And it's unfortunate and it sucks. Because I thought originally you had 3 entrance permits in this whole road frontage. I thought you had 3 legal, but it turned out you had 2.
So did I, you know.
Okay. And that's what, unfortunately,
Look, I got the phone call this morning
yeah.
from the DOT, and I never expected the answer they gave me, was that they're willing not to tear up that Top Gun entrance and just have me put a curb there. That saves me
So where?
$10,000-$15,000.
You just gotta put the curb right at the edge of where the pavement stops,
Yeah,
and it's gotta be matching whatever
Yeah.
their requirements are for that, well. Yeah, they did you a solid on that for, I'm surprised they didn't make you do it out of granite, but, no, I think this is workable with a couple, you know, like Jim was talking about there, maybe dumping in the entrance into the restaurant equipment business a little further up, so you're not right directly across from each other. I don't know, is it stormwater, all this other stuff have to be dealt with on this, or?
I don't know, where we have, what existed before and what's after.
Well, there was no entrance there before, and there was I mean, this whole road system here that's going in,
Right.
That whole-
We'll wanna know where it's going. I don't know how that combines in with the buildings there. Is there gonna be parking or lane improvements to that structure on the left going in?
There will be.
And we'll probably wanna see a stormwater management, or how they're gonna handle that stormwater, where it's gonna go.
I know Stewart's already had Teradyne out there.
Cause it's gonna have to be, is that water gonna go to the back, is it gonna go left, is it gonna, where's it going? I know there's some wetlands in there, but we're dumping everything into it, so we just need to know a plan of how that's gonna be graded and work.
yeah.
Well, there's a small detention pond that was built on the back side of that lot. That detention pond is underground and then ties into the front of Lot 3. And then that all goes to the DEP detention pond that I had to build, which drains that piece of property.
We just need to see how it all
So
comes
I don't
together.
really see that as being an issue.
Yeah, we just need to see the numbers, make sure we're not overloading anything, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, I think it's just, same thing, it's whatever the pitch is and all that on the gravel driveway by Top Gun too, because I mean, you don't want all that stuff running down and, but that's all gonna be gravel except for the apron anyhow, so, but, yeah. I mean, it's doable, I think there's a couple small things, but you said Stuart's working on a lot of this stuff then?
That's what he told me.
Okay. I guess we can wait to see some of that, I guess. You have any other questions for us, other than explaining your position, which sounds like sucks, but...
Except that, the restaurant supply people have rented a small portion of the Family Dollar, and they're really kind of pinched. So I like to move this thing along. I was trying to get my engineer to show up tonight, but he had a prior engagement, so he'll prepare the change of the entrance and get the application to you, so see if we can get this thing. I don't wanna lose it, another tenant, they're not easy to come by anymore.
No, I'd say, get as much stuff as you can, as quickly as you can, put in a true application for it, then at least
Yeah.
we'll be in the works and so forth, that
Okay,
will quickly come through.
thank you.
No, thanks for your time, Joe. You wanna keep that one, Jim, or? I'll give that, this one back here. All right, so we got any other business? We have a gentleman over here that wants to talk. Like a quick question or something about an informational. You wanna come up over here and?
How you doing? I'm Dave Bellabo. I'm in the process of looking into the property that you have for sale on Bakerstown Road, 318. I have an installation business. I'd like to move into that property if possible. And I'm just trying to find out what you guys are looking for, what I gotta do, basically. I don't know, this is all new to me, so.
Have you talked to the code office at all about?
Yeah, we had talked and stuff, but basically we kind of determined was, he uses it for automotives and stuff. I'm gonna be using it for stuff different, so I guess basically we're looking for a change of use for the property. I'm not exactly sure about the terminology and stuff.
Oh, no, that's fine, that's fine. So are you looking to buy the whole building and
Yeah.
then you're gonna use the whole building for your insulation business?
Yeah, well, there's a living quarters on part of the building that I plan on using, either me or probably one of my sons or something. But the rest of the building would be for office and place, basically a home for my business. I've been growing it for the last 25 years and pretty much out of my kitchen,
Yeah.
my driveway, and kind of outgrowing it, so. But I was just wondering if, the town would be, want to look at me, you want to make sure you guys are okay with me being there before I buy the place.
What's the zone on that, Scott?
It is a rural residential zone, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but it was grandfathered because it was, independent machine shop before. That's how I got my permits there. Grandfathered commercial.
Well, it's grandfathered for the use, not the.
Yeah, the use.
Right.
Yeah, rural residential too. Business primary, probably where it would fall, and it's not allowed. Or
Not specified.
Basically, he's just looking to store his trucks and insulation and not do auto repair and auto sales and towing out of there like I was doing.
Well, originally that, from what I understand, when the machine shop got put in there, that was put under home occupational. There was no special commercial, it was home occupational only. And that was years ago.
I don't think mine was under home occupation though.
No, but the machine shop was. That's how Jeff got it in there.
I see.
So it would have to go through the same process that we went through before. When I've given them the paperwork that they submitted before, I've given them an application.
Okay.
We just wanted to see what you guys wanted to see on the application and things that he needs to bring it to the next meeting. So that way we're not
I mean,
missing stuff.
just fill out the application, what it's asking for, I mean, you're not adding on to anything, not changing anything.
The only thing I would be thinking about changing is probably connecting the two parking areas along the side of the garage. There's like an entrance on one side of the building, another entrance kind of down the road a little bit. But what I'd like to do is connect the two, kind of like a probably a gravel driveway right along the,
On the front of it and the rear left
yeah,
side.
right, so. Cause I mean, I do get some deliveries.
The septic and the leach
Septic.
field is right there.
Yeah.
Is it, okay, I see.
It is out front right there, yeah.
Alright.
I think I recall that from the sidewalk.
I think that's why I never anticipated on connecting them, is because of the septic.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that, so.
Yeah, it's right, the septic, the trees you see out front, and then you see that big grass patch.
Yeah.
On the right, the top side of the grass patch is where the leach field is, and then down towards this bottom corner of the building, the septic tank's right in front of it, right there.
Okay.
I mean, you have that little piece that comes around and goes around the leach field, but then it kinda goes into the ditch a little bit that you guys have there. To
The
get up
reason
and
I
down.
wouldn't need somewhat, what I'm thinking is, because I do get deliveries, I would be getting some deliveries, tractor trailers. And that would allow me to pull in one and just drive out, drive out the other way. So then drive in, drive out, no backing, no blocking road or causing problems.
I don't know if you wanna drive a tractor trailer over your septic, so.
No, that kind of changes what I would be able to do there.
Now that driveway on the side of the machine shop, can't that driveway access to where the storage buildings are too?
Yep, yeah, it's already U-turns up there, but that
Because I
would
was
be
gonna say
obvious as long as Jeff,
that was put in years and years
as
ago.
long as Jeff doesn't mind, of course, but we all know
Yeah.
Jeff is a pain, but.
Where's that now?
This bottom driveway you see coming into the storage units, that's tarred all the way up through and then it goes out Jeff's driveway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Basically,
as far as I know,
would-
you can drive all the way up through, almost
Yeah,
to where his house is.
yeah, right at the bottom of his driveway,
Yeah.
then you would turn onto 11 right there.
Yeah, because we did a site walk over there, I think,
Yeah.
when you bought your place.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I was gonna have to see much with all the snow, so you kinda can't see the details of the
Sure.
lot, you know what I mean? You got piles here and there.
Well, it sounds like it can potentially work, I mean, you're gonna have to fill out, I mean, once again, this is nothing on our agenda that we actually knew about, so we wouldn't actually have researched anything, I don't know if it's gonna be that big of a problem, I think it's just gonna be a matter of filling out the forms coming in, and at that point, we can actually have researched it more, and get some information out of the code office as well, to see if we can pigeonhole it into something. So if you're looking at doing that, are you looking on the residential aspect of that, just renting to somebody?
Yeah, I would like to have it like a tenant occupied whether it be me or somebody else, you know. I would like to have that.
Well, it's gonna create all different issues with commercial to residential stuff, right?
Well, if he's living there,
Well, I'm just saying, like, sheet rock, fire ratings, all that
Well,
stuff.
it should be there now, but that's what it was when he moved in.
Is that building empty now?
I still have all my stuff in it. No, it's not empty.
No, I mean the machine shop, is that all gone?
Yeah, I have my auto repair shop. in
Oh,
there.
you do,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I got my lifts and all my
I see.
stuff in there, and I live in the apartment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I live upstairs in the apartment.
Oh, I see, so he wants to
interested in
do
buying it.
his insulation business.
He wants to do his insulation business and
yeah.
then in the garage part,
I see.
store all his stuff indoors and then have the apartment upstairs
I
to live
see.
in on site.
I see,
And then have the lots for storage for his work trucks and stuff like that.
I see.
Well, I guess I'll just say, fill out the application, so we have it on our agenda, we can, look into here and see if we can fit it in somehow.
So
Yeah.
really looking forward-
I'm just with them.
Oh, you were,
Yeah.
okay.
I already gave him the site plan application and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I showed him all the stuff when I had came to you guys and talked to you, what I had drawn up and all that stuff.
Oh.
Which I'm sure the only way it would really change is there'd be less vehicles in the parking lot than what I had. Cause I don't remember what you approved me for, it was like 30 cars or something, you probably even have 30
I don't
cars.
think there's like 15 in town, 15,
Yeah,
right?
20 something, I don't remember honestly. But I don't think you'd have that many vehicles there.
Well, it's one thing if it's a business, it's like the one down here. They store all their stuff there, and that's because they're running a business, they're not running a repair shop, junkyard / whatever, so, it's fine to store your equipment there if you're running all your trucks out of there, so,
Yeah, because we have no retail.
yeah.
Yeah.
We
It's
don't
all,
do any retail traffic or anything.
and all the work, and we basically, it's just place for office, store trucks, because the guys come in the morning, get in the trucks, load up, or the night before, and they take off to the job sites. You know, so pretty much, we don't do nothing there all day except office work. Maybe unload a truck or something, you know, with forklift. But no banging and stuff like that, you know, to disturb people. Or
Well,
down-
I'd fill out the application and, come in, and just come in at that point, it's like, still gonna be like a true informational then they won't have to,
It'll be a site
And it
plan,
would be site plan.
because it's gonna be a change of use.
oh, that's right, because it's gonna be a change of use from what it currently is, yeah. So you gave him the whole site plan, this whole thing and that,
Yep, yeah, he gave me all that stuff, which I had given him.
yeah, so. Some of that information's online, you can reach out to them if you got a question on some of the stuff too, but,
He can base most of his site plan off of mine though, right? Because the packet asks a lot of
yeah.
fancy little questions, square foot of this and square foot of
Yeah.
that. He can base a lot of it off of
Yeah, it's
what was
gonna
in
ask you
my
square footage
application.
of parking lots, square footage of buildings, all that stuff, yeah. you
You're
can
talking
just-
about this?
Yeah,
You didn't give me a copy of yours. but-
I emailed it over to you.
No, that wasn't in it.
Yeah, so just all this little stuff,
Yeah.
like foundation type, proposed development, all that stuff. He can just copy everything I use.
Yeah, you'll have
Yeah.
to send me that though, because you didn't send me that part, so.
And then what, he just probably needs a site plan and draw where all his trucks are gonna be parked and stuff like that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Which he could probably base mostly off of what I
Yeah.
already have, right?
Take a look at that and whether or not we need to do another sidewalk or whatever, but we'll go on the information provided and go from there.
Sweet,
Okay.
appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Have a good day.
Good night.
All right, any other business, Jim, you got anything?
I'm good.
Do I have any other business? No, I do not. No,
I will not be at the next meeting,
busy person.
I think,
All right, Scott,
or
anything?
the second to
No.
next meeting, the end of March, that one,
The 11th or the 25th?
25th, I'll be in.
Okay.
Or you got anything or anything coming in?
We do have a meeting on the 11th. We have a sketch plan for another subdivision,
Major or minor?
major.
Okay. Excellent. All right,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
all in favor? Good night, everybody.